Alrighty, good morning. How we doing? How's the sound quality? Can you hear me? Starting off this morning, we have a pretty nice bounce post-Nfp. NFP gave some decent setups there to work with to actually trade during the pre-market session. Notes that I had posted in the Traders Think Tank. We were talking about watching that prior day low on NQ as the primary watch. We actually got some pretty good action versus that prior day low. If you take a look at a fib retracement from that NFP low into the NFP high, you have that initial pullback here right at VWAP, right into that level of interest as well. Decent long setup, and then a retest of the highs back through there, and another pullback right into that prior day low. So a couple of good setups to trade with NFP. Now for the regular trading hours open, essentially the main watch for today is, can buyers now sustain price within the prior near-term range? Sellers pretty active during the overnight sesh, actually showing a break of that prior day low. Now price is back within that prior day's range, trading right through here at the weekly volume point of control, right near that pre-market high and some prior day structure. So you can see the prior day structure points right through here, right around 19K. So coming into the open, we're just shy of 19K. I want to see if 19K is going to be tested and what that reaction near 19K is going to be, much like what we did yesterday. As of right now, price is back within this near-term range, right? So poised to open right in the middle of the range. So we want to see off the open in that early structure into 10 a.m. how price develops, how price sets up here, how that kind of intraday structure sets up right through here at 19K. That's going to be the primary watch for NQ. Buyers, what they're going to try and do here is show a break of that weekly volume point of control right through here, this structure volume point of control up through 19K to retest the near-term range high. So does that move actually pan out, or do sellers start to step in here again and price retest that prior day low? We do have, as far as the overnight structure is concerned, we do have a little bit of a change in character here, with price actually breaking up and through that most recent lower high. Now that's pretty minor because it is just the overnight session. I would be more interested in seeing the reaction up into here. Again, just looking at structure points and then up into here. Right? If we zoom out and take a look at like an hourly chart, you'll see that these areas through here are going to be more significant. So that 900 level, definitely key, but still a mid-range reference point, and then the 19K weekly volume point of control. That's going to be the focus here off of the open. Let's jump over to S&P. So pretty similar, right? Price just trading near that prior day low during the overnight sesh. Let's take a look at the actual overnight action here. So we have a break of that prior day low right around 3 a.m. Consolidation pattern, no real follow through. This is all likely accumulation, and then NFP resolves higher up and through the pre-market high. So now just back within that prior day's range, right? Now, personally, I like the setup in NQ a little bit better today. The structure has been a bit stronger than what we saw in S&P. S&P yesterday did show follow through of that inside day breakdown. And so for ES, essentially, you want to keep an eye on, there we go. You want to keep an eye on this prior day structure point right through here. A little bit of a lower high right through there. So if we look at pivots, where is price rolling over? Where are you getting a big move? We can see that 55.25 area aligns with volume point of control for the near-term structure, but not only that, price rolled over in a pretty significant way right through there. And so buyers, what they're going to be looking to do is show a break up and through that area. And if they're successful, if they can show acceptance above this zone, you could look at 55.40 and then potentially the 55.60 area, which is that prior day high. So pretty straightforward. My focus is going to be on NQ this morning. And again, what I like to see is how this structure develops into the open, how that kind of intraday regular trading hour structure starts to develop up into 19K. So we've got about 2.5 minutes till the open here. We've already lightly padded the day with a couple of trades. Post-Nfp on NQ. It is Friday, Capital Preservation Friday. No need to be a gunslinger today. As always, the objective is to let price show us that easiest money trade. Have the patience to wait for it. Once you see it, execute accordingly. We will likely be looking at a very small gap lower. Yesterday's close was right at 980. Price currently trades 927. So 30 seconds till the open here. Let's see how we're looking. Probably start to see that volume point of control shift. Yeah, there it goes. So volume point of control now right up here at 940 area. That aligns with the prior day volume point of control as well. Here's the open. Very slight gap lower. Coming into that pre-market high now. Pre-market high right at 973 area, 972 area. S&P with the push right off the open. So here's that structure point from the prior day. On ES, you want to keep an eye on this area right through here. We don't have any other data prints today. We do have some Fed speak at 11 a.m. So no break of that pre-market high just yet. Keep an eye on that 15-minute setup right through here. Some pretty big wicks there. NQ into the lows, coming into that 900 level. See what kind of reaction we get into 900. And S&P rejecting that 55.25 area so far. So just watching that action versus 900. You have the session volume point of control right overhead. And then your prior day low is down into 850 area. VWAP currently aligns with that prior day low. There's S&P with fresh highs. So some early relative strength in ES here. That's notable. Definitely notable. NQ back into that session volume point of control. So pretty nice bounce initially versus the 900 level of interest. Opening 5-minute bar is closed. A little bit of indecision there on that 5-minute. Still some support through here, 900 from the prior day. It's kind of a look at your near-term structure, right? Right through here. The issue right now is definitely this 15-minute development for buyers. Sellers are trying to have this be a lower high. Remember, the big picture context is downtrend, intermediate term downtrend. Here comes that prior day low, right into VWAP as well. Can watch the reaction here, see if buyers step in or not. This is definitely a key area. ES coming into the lows as well. You've got the 55.10 below on ES. Here's that 820 on NQ. So if this area fails, next major level is down into that NFP low, 700 level of interest. You also have that high volume node kind of through here at 750. But if I remember correctly, yeah, we're now into that unfilled gap. It's that regular trading hours unfilled gap right through here. So it's kind of last stand for buyers. See if they step in or not. S&P just now into 55.10 area. How's that profile looking? NQ trading 820. Good volume this morning. 15-minute bar closes in 5 minutes. Take a look at the shape of it currently. And so at this point, if price continues to hold below 820, below prior day low, most likely I'll be waiting till 10 a.m. before placing any trades. New low of day there for NQ. Here's ES into that prior day volume point of control. A little bit of prior day support there, just looking at that prior day structure. There goes NQ pressing the lows. So now I'll pretty much wait till 10 a.m. or 700 trades. Or a shift in that intraday structure would be another scenario to consider. Great volume coming in. the low from this NFP print will be significant, so I'll definitely be watching the reaction into that area as well. As of right now, you have a test back down into that pre-market high volume node right through here. So let's see if this is a lower high intraday on NQ. Back into 820. Prior day low right there, 843 is on watch. If this is the local low, I'd like to see some type of higher low being established here. Up through prior day low now. Okay. So far pretty responsive buyers versus that accumulation that we discussed during the pre-market sesh. And your 15-minute bar closes here in 1 minute. Keep an eye on this 5-minute development. So NQ right at that prior day low area is a critical area. First 15-minute bar of the sesh is closed. So we've rejected that near-term structure, volume point of control there. Looks like ES held VWAP pretty nicely. Prior day volume point of control. VWAP right through there. Also rejecting that weekly profile. That weekly volume point of control there so far. That's why those areas, those volume point of controls are so important to watch. Typically see them respected pretty nicely. So NQ, a little retest of the 820 there. Still just kind of churning here right at that prior day low. Can they retest the 900? Let's see. Personally, still cashed up. Waiting for that A+ opportunity. Staying patient. Patience, patience, patience. Check out that 15-minute bar on ES. Big time indecision here. So there goes NQ back into that 820 area. Definitely a fight for price through here. So if this is a lower high, sellers will be looking to retest the lows. Do have that volume point of control shift down here into 845 now for the session. There's 820 trading. Very tricky spot here. What time is it? We have 9 minutes till 10 a.m. So we'll see how we're looking into 10 a.m. NQ working on the lows. There's ES back into 55.10 as well. So that session low will be on watch. I'm interested, like I said, in the NFP low as well if price gets there. What level is that? About 720. Buyers making an attempt for a higher low right there. About 7 minutes till 10. You can keep an eye on that 820 area. It's still a level of interest. Just letting this intraday structure continue to build out. S&P back into the lows. NQ coming for the lows here. See if it breaks the low. Current low is 765. Not that far off. There's S&P making a fresh low on the day. Prior day low on S&P is down into 54.90. We have 4 minutes till 10 a.m. So we'll see if we get any sort of 10 a.m. move, 10 a.m. reversal time. Pretty much the main watch now. It's the setup into 10 a.m. Setup post 10 a.m. So I'll be looking at, no real update to what I've already shared, but I'll be looking at 820 / prior day low on NQ. I'm interested in that area. the reaction of this area or that NFP low, which is 720. As of right now, still cashed up for the regular trading hour session. Patience. Not all that interested if this is a higher low here, just based on trade location, especially on a Friday. No data at 10 a.m. NQ retesting that 820. $820 level of interest. Volume tapering down a little bit, but still pretty good. And then this next 15-minute bar closes in 1 minute. Looks like an inside bar there, unless it manages to break the low here in the next minute. There's your new low of day, NQ. So let's see the reaction to that NFP low down into 720. If you caught any of those short setups, you probably want to start trimming as we get into that NFP low and 10 a.m. here in about 10 seconds. There's the NFP low. Down into pre-market low now. Yeah, pre-market low is right there at 703. I believe we are still in the gap. Yeah, the gap technically fills into like 662 area. So gap fill trade worked pretty nicely. Almost completely filled now. Here's that NFP low, 720. So this whole zone right through here, 720 down into 700, worth keeping an eye on. Good volume. Where's ES? ES just now into that prior day low. Still quite a ways off of that NFP low. For the S&P, So at this point, you can start to take your fib if you're looking for retracement levels. Shallow fib is right up there into 770 on NQ. That would be the previous intraday low right through there. Lower high on higher time frame, hourly engulfing on NQ, yeah. Sellers keeping with the theme. Intermediate term structure, downtrend. So you're either shorting or you're looking for very specific locations for any long setup. Typically how it goes. If you're trading responsibly, of course. So NQ into that shallow fib now. How's the profile looking? So you do still have that high volume node down here from the overnight sesh. Five-minute, trying to set up that hammer. Worth keeping an eye on. How's S&P doing? Still here at the prior day low. Still there. That's a good area to keep an eye on. Prior day low, 54.85 level of interest on ES. So NQ, no intraday change in character until pretty much up through 820, that level of interest there. Keep an eye on that 15-minute. Still has 8 minutes till it closes, but definitely keep an eye on the shape of that. That session volume point of control may shift if price spends probably another couple minutes right through here. Maybe just another minute. So keep an eye on that as well. How's ES doing? So ES made a fresh low there, coming into that 54.85. See if buyers start to step in there or not. There's NQ, a little higher low there. It's looking better. No change in character on NQ until 820. And then the challenge with that is you have the prior day low and VWAP right through there as well. So tried a couple longs, added some points on the sesh, about 40 points. Nothing crazy. No real follow through so far, so keep a tight leash on them. 720 definitely remains a critical area. You can see price undercut that NFP low, then bounced. So I just want to see if buyers can continue to sustain that low. Keep an eye on your 15-minute chart. First couple of trades of the regular trading hour session for me. As mentioned, I was waiting for post 10 a.m. if that prior day low failed. So just sticking with the discussed plan. $15-minute bar closes here in 4 minutes. Could be the first green close of the regular trading hour session. Let's wait and see. And ES, no real follow through on that bounce there. There's your session volume point of control shifting on NQ down into 746 now. If price flushes the lows here and sustains, most likely that'll be a wrap for me on the morning session. Let's see the 700 area, 720, 700. Here it comes, coming into the lows now. we doing with S&P? So S&P just pressing the lows. You have that rejection of that critical market structure point. Again, things we talked about ahead of the bell. Sellers step in there. Just continuing that trend lower, right? So with any of these highly bearish environments, you're either shorting or, like I said, stay incredibly selective with any long entries. Selectivity is the name of the game. NQ, technical new low of day there. Still no break of that overnight low. See if it breaks it right through here. Buyers trying to force a little bit of a spring setup there. And your 15-minute bar closes here in 9 seconds. So that bullish looking hammer we had has obviously shifted. That's why we don't do too much analysis before candles close. Yeah, 15-minute just showing that indecision there within the context of two fairly large, broad selling bars. Not a ton that is super compelling here so far. Still just with a couple of scalps for the regular trading hour session. Also had a couple of trades during the pre-market post-Nfp. So not looking to push my luck today. Especially given the intraday structure here. If this is going to be a true trend move lower. That's not my favorite day, so almost an hour into the sesh here, about 45 minutes into the sesh. What I'm waiting to see right now is if buyers can continue to step in here near that overnight low, near that NFP low, and if we see some sort of intraday range develop, or if this is going to give a true break lower. So that's kind of the watch right now for me personally. How's everyone doing? We cashed up? Are we green? Are we red? Let me know in the chat. Small green, nice. I like it. Still cash, still cash. Solid. Cash is a position, definitely. Cash, nice. Nothing wrong with cash. Don't give in to the FOMO. Don't let anyone else stir up the emotions in you based on posts that you see or setups you think you missed, especially on a Friday. Friday is typically not a good day for most traders. That was the case for me for a long, long time. Finally, you just get sick of looking at a year of results with a lot of red Fridays, and that's where a change starts to be made. But that decision fatigue towards the end of the week, that's a real thing. That's definitely a real thing. Still driving? Nice. Tuning into the live stream while driving? Love it. Don't trade and drive. Sounds dangerous. So NQ, if you manage to hold on to that spring trade, make sure you're managing. There was a little undercut of the low there. I passed on that one personally. Oh, Martin, yeah, I've had my fair share of trials and tribulations. I've made every single mistake in the book, all of them, and not just once, not just once, hundreds of times. Thankfully, I can laugh about it now, but yeah, it's definitely a journey. Definitely a journey. Through time, you get better. Definitely get better. If you continue to work on it, you get better. And the progress will not be linear. In fact, it's anything but linear. You know, we tend to come into any life endeavor, anything we're, setting out to do, and expect progress to be like steps on a ladder, rungs on a ladder, and trading is not that at all. I mean, it's just not that way. And because of that, it can be easy to get discouraged. But what I usually recommend to those scenarios is try and set process-based goals for yourself rather than outcome-based goals. Like a lot of traders want to set goals that are based on certain P&L thresholds, which is not, we only have so much control over the outcome of a trade and the outcome of a week's result. So if you can kind of gauge yourself and measure yourself based on how you're following your process. Like a good example would be, all right, this week my goal is to follow all of my trading rules. And then at the end of the week, you look at that. That's a good way to go about it. You can say, all right, well, I'm meeting this benchmark. What's kind of the next thing I can work on? Yeah, definitely been there, Irvin. I mean, I don't think anyone is immune to those challenges that a trader will face. So NQ still just kind of oscillating here near that NFP low. No change in character just yet. Kind of have a little bit of a sideways base building out. Buyers are definitely attempting to show some higher lows here, but not much follow through. Here come the lows again on NQ. See if it breaks decisively lower or not. There we go. There's a new low of day. Don't need that fib anymore. So is there a spring setup or does it just flush? Check out that 15-minute. Quite bearish. Big volume coming in here. So where's that gap fill again? I believe it's 660. Take a look. Right there here, yeah, 660. Kind of that 650 area gap fills. It's kind of a better visual of it there. Huge volume coming in. So that gap is pretty much entirely filled here. $550, the next real kind of structural level. Not a lot for me to do here, frankly. Staying patient. About an hour into the sesh. Got a little bounce there, kind of a little mini bounce there is probably profit taking for that gap fill trade. Structure pretty much on all time frames is bearish. So be very cautious jumping into any longs. Personally, what I'd like to see is either a change in character intraday or some action versus that next downside level of interest. As of right now, I'm in absolutely no rush. Still, personally, with just the essentially 2 scalps on the session, they're an NQ. Obviously looking for more follow through on those trades. Does not happen, so ends up being a scalp. Yeah, there's your year-to-date chart. Volume point of control down there aligned with that 550 level of interest. Let's see where we're at as far as retracement on that prior bounce. Oh, that was the 50%. 50% aligned with that NFP low. That failed to hold. So the next fib, the next relevant fib on the daily is that 61% down near the 18,400 level of interest. Let's have a look at the weekly. Quite bearish. One of the things I had mentioned in a session recap earlier this week, I think it was on Tuesdays, if this actually does become a lower high, we're kind of seeing more of that now, obviously, but if this does confirm as a lower high, it can get much uglier. Local lows or weekly lows are down in this area, right? And because of how quickly this move happened, there's not a lot of volume through there. Like if you think about a volume profile, if you just looked at a profile for this action, it's going to be super thin. There's not going to be a lot of structure. And so think about when we talk about like a volume void, price can refill a lot of those areas very quickly. I mean, look at this big daily time frame volume void right through here anyway. So price can just slip right through those volume voids very fast. There's that next 15-minute bar opening up there. See what S&P is doing. Down through that overnight low, down through the NFP low. Look at the 5-minute, just all red. All right. Well, like I said, if price breaks that 700 level, it's a wrap for me on the morning sesh. So I'm going to shut it down here. I'll keep the analysis and commentary going in the Traders Think Tank as always. But what I need to see now for my framework is an intraday change of character or a test of some of those lower downside levels of interest, and we're quite a ways off them now. So thanks for jumping in the stream, folks. Hope everyone had a good morning. If you have questions about anything, feel free to shoot me a message in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and